somebody with a Monticello shirt on. I don't know about that. Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to Montpelier. My name is Don Price. I'm here to give you a tour. Has anyone been here before? Oh, okay. One, two, okay. You recall when that was?
Yeah, that's
okay. Okay. You were here during the process of the restoration.
Yeah.
Okay, great. How about you folks?
That's fine.
Also the same thing? Okay. Anyone else here after the restoration or before? Okay. You know, what these folks had the opportunity of seeing was the last of the founding fathers' homes to be restored. And this was owned by the DuPonts for 82 years, and they greatly expanded this place. And we didn't really have any money to do the restoration until early 2000, and we had private funding from the Mellon family, and that was about 24 million. And so we took a serious look. Is it okay? Is there enough left from the Madison period to make it worthwhile to go forward with this? And so about a year was spent probing into the walls and trying to look up historical records to see, because you know when the DuPonts were here, they had this massive building campaign. What we were given after Marion DuPont Scott died here in 1983 was a home that was 55 rooms, nearly 36,000 square feet. And what we've restored it to here is the way it was when the Madisons were here. It was 22 rooms, about 12,000 square feet. And so we wanted to say, well, is there enough here of the Madison period that would make this worthwhile? And to our delight, we found that indeed there was a great deal of that was original. And you know, I have to give credit to the DuPonts. I like to think of them as the original recyclers. So they never threw anything away. They just moved it around and put it in storage. So we're very excited to show you the home that looks very, very much like what it looked like when James the Dollar here. And, you know, he was about 14 when he moved here from their rather modest home down there near the present cemetery. That's called Mount Pleasant. And so this was his parents' home. That door we're going to be going in here shortly is the center front door for the original mansion. Now, James was a bachelor until he was 43. Didn't get married until 1794. That was up in Philadelphia where he met and married Doll, who was recently widowed. And about 3 years after that, they came down here and he built a 30-foot addition onto the house, which forming a duplex. That was their front door over here. His parents were on that part of the house, and that was in 1797. But they weren't here long. He was long-term friends with Thomas Jefferson. And Thomas Jefferson was elected president in 1801. And so, being good friends with Madison, he asked James and Dolly to move up to Washington so he could serve as his Secretary of State. Well, after Jefferson completed his second term, Madison ran for president, was elected. He also served for 2 terms. So they're up in Washington for 16 years. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But only here for short periods during those 16 years. And so then when they did come back and retired from the presidency in 1817, this was their lifelong home. Now, during that time that he was president, there was one more building addition. Okay, you know, I told you about the 30-foot extension here. Now, this doorway was not here, and there were interior walls. Like I said, this was made into a duplex. So in 1801, or rather 1809, when he was elected president, he went and added on, basically took out the interior walls to bring it back to one full mansion, put the large doorway in here, and added the 1-story wings on either side, and then a colonnade on the back. And so that's kind of the evolution. And that was a 3-year building campaign from about 1809 to about 1812. So what we've done here is we restored it to the way it looked after that last building campaign. Basically the way it looked when he and Dolly came down here for their retirement years. And this is where he lived till he died at 36. So that's kind of the timeline of what we're going to do. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I will take you on a room-by-room tour, the first floor, which will take roughly 30 minutes, depending upon questions and so on and so forth. Depending upon your individual desires and needs, I know some of you folks have other commitments. You're trying to be some other place, maybe at the Monticello today, I don't know. And so we will try to respect that, and so if you need to leave the tour at that point, you're welcome to do so. However, if you don't have such a pressing commitment, I would welcome you to join me upstairs. And well, briefly, we talked about this room upstairs. Well, I'll tell you what's upstairs. The windows that you see there by the downspout on the second floor is their bed chamber. And so we could take a peek in there. Also, the windows you see above the pediment here is part of the original mansion. That's the old library. That's where James, as a 35-year-old bachelor, put together the Virginia Plan, which became the basic architecture of our Constitution. And we have a little video about that, okay, about 3 minutes. Also, we have this room, which I mentioned, which is called our Restoration Room. You know, as you folks have seen, this was an effort that took 5 years. And we discovered a lot of interesting things. And so, even though you weren't here to see this, we have a room where we have some displays talking about some of the things we discovered. And that's upstairs as well. Now, the final thing we have upstairs, you know, this is the 200th anniversary of the War of 1812, sometimes referred to as Mr. Madison's War, or the Second War of Independence. Matter of fact, it was June 18th, 1812, almost exactly 200 years and I guess a month or so, that this was declared a war on England. And so we have a number of displays upstairs talking about that war. So that gives you an opportunity to learn more about what that war was all about. And so, so that's what the tour will consist of. And now what I'd like to do is share with you the story of James and Dolly. You know, how did, you know, James was known as the father of the Constitution, even within his own lifetime. And so what I'd like to do is share with you, well, how did he get to be known as the father of the Constitution? I mean, what did he do besides this so-called Virginia Plan?